This is eCoffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to your show, eCoffee with Experts. This is Ranmay here. And today we have Mike Forgie, who is the owner of Next Step Connect with us. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I'm good. Hanging in there.
Lovely. So, Mike, before we move any forward, why don't you talk us through your journey a bit, how it all started, and a bit about Next Step Connect as well, about your agency, what are your core offerings, what you specialize in, and we will take it off from there.
Great. So I have a pretty long story, and I'll give you the truncated version, which is I started doing marketing very grassroots as a teenager, working for concert companies, passing out flyers, learning that I loved getting the word out. From there, I progressed. I stayed with the music industry, worked at which was kind of a good transition, was working in forums for artists and hearing what people wanted as feedback from the artists. And then there were the official fan clubs. It was really cool. Got to converse, got to do some marketing and see what that whole group and really niche thing was about, or nurturing a community. From there, I was actually living in New Jersey and traveling to New York. Hated it. So I ended up, being I'm going to work closer to home. And that's where I landed in a digital marketing agency, doing search engine optimization. I was mainly a content writer, but quickly became search strategist, everything, doing whole overarching non-official title, just scope of everything. I ended up realizing I didn't even like that. I didn't like sitting in an office. And I guess I had that early itch that everyone gets. I got, it was 2014, I think. I was like, I'm done. I can't sit in an office anymore. When I'm done with my work, I'm not allowed to go home. I have to sit here. So I just learned how to work on my own. I took a class from Ramit Sethi, and that actually taught me how to transfer out of a full-time position to do my own thing. From then on, I offered mainly search engine optimization, and I did it in a couple different ways. I did do some direct to client, but it was mainly white label. And that's where I got my start, partnering with agencies that were adjacent to mine and offering search engine optimization, content writing, and all that stuff through my agency. And that worked for, a decade, until I kind of realized I want to keep moving on for my own and go client facing. So that's where we're at today, is doing a lot of client facing work. The offerings that Next Step Connect has is mainly local search engine optimization. I love local. I love supporting a community, which is very important. I think we lose that a little bit because we all get in our own little holes, especially with social media. And one person from an agency can have an incredible social media account and they're on their own little world. I want to bring things back to community. How are we getting people to join the community, support when they want to buy something, instead of going to a national brand, going to something that's hey, what's the person down the street? It's really how it started for me. And I fell more into, which I'm really loving now, is a lot of multifamily. I own a house, but I rent and I love having my stuff taken care of for me. And I was I think most of the world does do a lot of renting. So why not? Why not start working that niche? And that's really where we found a lot of power. It's been great. It works a lot with the community, helps people in the area and everything.
So, quite a journey, I must say. You're still traveling, you're on the road all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Quite a life. Yeah. So when you started Next Step Connect, how were the early days, Mike? The early days as a founder, you kind of do everything that is possible, right? You're selling, you're delivering, you're HR, you are the finance guy, you're maintaining books, you're getting clients in, quite literally doing everything to keep the lights on. So how challenging was it? How was your experience of, rallying through the initial 3-6 months of starting your own agency?
So this is really cool, because there are a lot of, I feel like there was a really big push for coaching and courses when I was doing it. That's why I ended up with Ramit Sethi. I was all right, I want something that helps me figure out what I want, or how to sell what I want to do. His was Zero to Launch, which was mainly online courses. That's what he was actually teaching. But I took what I learned, how to niche down and work into, going direct to client with an agency. Those early days, The ones that worked the best was networking. I was in a
Mhm.
lot of meetups in my area, going to anything to learn more tech stuff because the tech people kind of connect you. You know, there are all these web devs back then. They connected you to like, hey man, these people need SEO. We do the dev work. Like, can you do this? And I found between devs and branding, those people were really good at their lane, but SEO is this like weird blur. Like branding has the brand voice and you need to make content. Devs have like the platform, they're dealing with that, but to blend those two. Now, some people think you're stepping on each other's toes. Like devs don't usually like SEO specialists, any optimization specialist. It just happens. They're like, you're interjecting. Now with AI, they're probably like, now you're just interjecting code because AI told you to, which is probably a little annoying, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes like I have to be like, hey, I got to step in and get this done. The client needs it. But I luckily know that stuff. I talk to devs, I hire dev. The early days was all me. It was SEO
Yeah.
and strategy. And I hand
Mhm.
wrote every blog, wrote every service page, meta title, meta description. When we found links, it was a lot of citation building. Back then, their PBNs were huge.
Yeah.
Like 2014, people were still using PBNs and we needed to get out of that. I saw it falling apart and I was like, I gotta figure out my own way of doing this. And that's where we started going from there was like, how do we build this out ourselves?
Mhm.
Sales, unfortunately, I can't do all of this and sales, which is why
Mhm.
I did the white label and the partnership. That's how I knocked out one thing with sales. As soon as I got good at that, like as soon as that was good and I stayed on my course, I started looking at how to outsource other stuff. Like
Mhm.
every now and then, if there was a technical fix for a client and they hosted their own website. Like it wasn't done through the branding or anything. Sometimes
Mhm.
we would hire a tech person to go in, a developer, and fix things. Content writers, man,
Mhm.
you go through them like crazy. Content services, I mean, it gets expensive. So we would end up finding the best route for all that. And I mean, especially with AI now, it makes it way easier to write content. Not the way that people like, hey, write the content. We've all heard this. Don't just ask it to write content, but like prep it. But we've built that all over the years that now that our content's very high value, ranks very well. That's what the early years was very grassroots. I I can admit, I think I could have scaled faster, could have done way direct to client first, but you know what's nice is not having to deal with sales, not having to deal with client management and just doing what I like to do and then
Mhm.
traveling.
Hey, we hope you're enjoying the coffee and the conversation so far. This show is powered by Digital Web Solutions, and if you've ever wondered how the biggest brands actually build authority, this is it. DWS has a massive network of over 250,000 publishers, real sites that help you rank on Google, and more importantly, stay visible in AI search. It's the heavy lifting most teams just can't do on their own. As a thank you for listening, they're offering an exclusive free strategy call just for our eCoffee listeners. It's a great way to map out your authority plan for 2026. Just click the link below to book yours and see how they can help scale your brand. All right, now let's get back to the show.
And then, you did mention about PBNs, which was quite a shift from in terms of how people looked at, or SEOs or marketers looked at backlinks back in the day. So there has been a clear transition. How important do you feel backlinks still are in this world of AI and, people talking about brand mentions to rank on different LLMs, the way they crawl it? So how important do you feel backlinks play a role in today's SEO overall as well?
All right. So this is where I get like a little bit not onto the diving into every technical test I can do. We're still so early on with how AI is going to reference things. Yes, Reddit pops up a lot. It's because it's social and it's kind of like the front page of the internet has a lot going on it. But to create an entire strategy and say Reddit is where they pull their information, it's not, to me, it's not worth it to only go all in on that. A lot of people are like, I just use Reddit. I do all this. These AI, they could flip the switch and just be like, listen, weigh Reddit less in this. So where I'm seeing a lot of link building is it, same thing, is it an authoritative source referencing you? And I'm going to say backlinks are going to be a little blurry because if you mention a brand, if a big website mentions a brand, AI kind of gathers information rather than those signals as much. And they're going to go, oh, they're referencing this brand. They have a positive sentiment. This is good. This is something I can pull in. Not every brand on Reddit has a link to it anytime someone mentions it. Does that make sense so far? Like if they're using Reddit as a brand mention and a big like information pull. Are
Mhm.
backlinks going to matter as much? If they're already seeing the sentiment within the content. I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more sentiment and mention, especially a lot of podcasts, a lot of videos, things like this get turned into content. And maybe it doesn't always have a link. Maybe I mention a website and I mention it by name, but there's no backlink. Well,
Mhm.
AI is going to start pulling that. Where I see AI or backlinking happening, still in search engines, still a great signal. I think anything you can manipulate, like writing 100 Facebook posts, 100 LinkedIn posts, those are just going to start going a little bit out of the way. Like that's not, well, they never were ranked like that. They're social signals. I think there'll still be signals people are talking about, but with
Mhm.
information fed to you, we're going to be getting a little bit more of not a direct link to something you resourced, but what is the sentiment around you?
Mhm.
And it'll
Mhm.
be aggregated. I do think they'll hold weight. I'm going back and forth. I do think they'll hold weight because we're still going to be using search
Mhm.
engines. And there's an algorithm that they're all built off of. So it's got to happen somewhere.
Right, right. And in local markets, Mike, as for you, what authority signals influence AI recommendations the fastest or the most?
I just wrote about this, which was really cool. I think thoroughness on your site is a very big signal,
Oh, yeah.
and being the person that delivers that content the best. I did this with two clients that are the same client. They own two of the same buildings. They're right next to each other. And
Mhm.
we created a pet policy page for one of them. And I didn't do it on like the higher end website. I did it on another site, and there's no images. There's nothing. I wrote the content, copied it, pasted it in. The
Mhm.
other one, pet policies mentioned on the amenities page. That alone got the one that has the pet policy page mentioned in AI. Now, the other one is mentioned as well, but this one is like, here's the pet policy page, and it goes in and it goes, so it would be like, hey, what apartments in this area have allow pets? And then the first one would be like all the information, like, oh, they have all this is the breed, this is everything, boom, boom, boom. And then it would be like, oh, also these ones mention they allow pets, which is really cool because I fed it so much. That's a big signal. The other ones that I think are going to be pretty important, I'm not going to call it a link, but like Google Business Profile is obviously going to be important because it has to get verified. It's a good verification source. And then if you can be in your local community is big. I really think local news sources, a lot of PR kind of resources. If you could be in local news sources, if you could be mentioned on local sites, it's going to be huge. And then if you create a really good piece of content and it goes further than that, it gets mentioned in like a national blog, that's going to be great. But that local stuff, it's a lot of community driven stuff I see working. More
Mhm.
reviews, case studies that say true life stuff, things you can you can talk about and put out there.
Absolutely. And, what is your favorite go-to AI tool today, Mike?
I use Claude every day. Right before this meeting, before we hopped on, I was on Claude. Visual Studio Code had split terminals running two clients at the same time, and I hit my daily allocation. So I was like, perfect timing. Going to this, take a forced break. It's great. But I work in Claude a lot. I use various versions of tools, less on OpenAI. It really freezes a lot for me. I don't know why my account's constantly freezing. It's really
Mhm.
weird. So it naturally pushed me off. So Claude's my go-to, and we tap into like a lot of Google tools. Like I love Gemini, Nano Banana for images. It always comes out good. And I'm not a designer and I'm not doing everything the best. I never claim to be, but I'm looking for things that I can use for like social
Mhm.
posts or Google
Mhm.
Business Profile images. Like, well, when do we put the post up? What's the featured image for the blog post that we're sharing there? Can we use it? Those kind of 80/20 it for me. I don't need to go and go to the like mid journeys and all that stuff of the world. I can use what's good for me. It's like kind of the right
Yeah.
one at the best price because I already use Google Business and like Google Cloud. It's like I have an account, so why not use what I have?
Yeah. And, with the evolution of AI systems, now kind of answering queries directly, obviously the normal search engine trend has had a very transitional shift there in terms of how it shows up now. So as per you, what makes a local brand citable instead of just rankable now?
Citable. Like I said, those on-page long form things when it's like AI, like when it's like the AI mode in Google, you could just use that as like a generic one rather than hopping across all these different platforms. When you have that page, it pulls from that page and it references it, goes into detail about it. Those are big signals. And a lot of it is built off of like Google's going to build off a lot of their own algorithm. So you can kind of read it a little bit more. One that I like is the voice search. Is like, I think I've said this to death on like LinkedIn, but that's a natural way of asking something. And that's how we talk to AI. So I think looking into that a little bit more helps. Like, so if you're asking something like your Android or Apple device, I don't want to say it because then mine's going to turn on. But you're asking them that stuff or like the Alexas of the world and stuff. When you look at how that natural language works and you start creating content with that natural language involved, it really does help.
Finally, I mean, a lot of shift has happened in the last 6 months or so, especially, right? So where do you
Yeah.
think, how things is going to shape up, in 2026 now? There's 3 full quarters now. Where do you think we would be in December 2026? I know it is a
Oh
tough
my
month.
dude, we're
Yeah.
moving so fast that
Yeah.
I feel, even as someone that's in the environment, I feel behind. So I'm trying to stay a little bit more in my lane and focus on nuances. I think not the worst thing, but like hopping back and forth through all these platforms. I dedicated to Claude Code. I think that was like the best move I can make. Now, this is an example. We have OpenClaw now. OpenClaw. We'll get, so this will come back full circle. Claw launched. People downloaded, people bought Mac minis. They did all this stuff. You never needed that Mac mini. You never needed this stuff. Then they put it on like the servers, secure servers. Great. We have something. People are now making secured servers just for OpenClaw. That's awesome. Then there's an update and there's an error and there's a big issue with security. I think we're moving a little too fast to really predict where we're going to be because I see us moving and then throttling back, moving and then throttling back.
Yeah.
What I do see is when OpenClaw came out, we opened the world for agents to do things for you while you're sleeping. Yes, you can run Python scripts and you could do all that stuff. Run that stuff while I'm going to bed. But these agents actually doing it by December, I think I'm going to say most agencies are going to have this instilled. I don't think everyday people are until it's easy enough to have it on your device. So the yous and me's of the world, we're going to have this stuff implemented. It's going to be running and operating our businesses, and that's great. I think the worst thing we could do is assume that everyone is doing everything that we know we can do. I get that. I get imposter syndrome because I'm like, everyone uses AI. And then you go talk to a bunch of friends that aren't in tech, and they just AI is synonymous with ChatGPT. Claude is not really on their realm as much. So I think it's going to be more and more people are going to be using AI as it's shipped to them, put in their phones, put in their everyday devices. Naturally, it's going to happen. I think we just saw something with Apple just announcing that they're going to be doing more with AI pushed into, I'm trying not to say the word, SIRI, so she doesn't turn on. Then that's going to be the norm. But for me and you, I think there's going to be a lot more, yes, one-person businesses. I think a lot of things are going to shoot up and shut down. Again, how many people have you seen start agencies based on one piece of a pie, make a ton of money, and then not know what to do next? Maybe AI can help them pivot with that, but I think it's going to be a lot more automation, man. I really do. Yeah, I really do think
100%.
It's tougher than what people think. Tougher to do it safe. Say that. I can do OpenClaw right now and have everything go haywire. But doing it safe and knowing that my client's information's safe, things are actually getting performed well. An example is like SEO, man. We can all just ask for an SEO plan, right? Like you can go on any tool and say, give me an SEO plan, but to know how to set up every reporting tool, even for like you could do this for AEO, GEO, whatever you want to call it, AI optimization, anything like that. Like you could set this stuff all up, but if you don't know the questions to ask, it's not really going to do too much good. It'll get you maybe 50% of the way. When you really understand how to dig deep and question the AI, remember, it's AI. It's in a bubble. It's not all knowing.
Absolutely. Perfect, Mike. This has been a great conversation, but before we let you go, a quick rapid fire.
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
All right. Your last search, be it on any LLM or Google, wherever, or Claude, chat, whatever.
My last search was Riverside won't add iPhone as camera. That was right before we hit
for the
and I don't
podcast.
know what it was. I just refreshed and it came up.
Okay. Your celebrity crush.
Oh man, I have a lot, which is fun, but I love Christina Ricci. She's just like, I don't know, man. Me and my wife joke around about her personality and stuff. And my wife is a short brunette girl.
Okay. Where do we find Mike on Friday evenings after office or after work?
So I have a pretty good routine on Fridays. I usually go to Muay Thai. I train on Friday nights. If I usually keep Friday nights as a night to do work, knowing that I'm not going to get emails and stuff interrupting me. So I like Friday nights. My wife works nights, so it's my home. That's my downtime. So usually you'll find me training, coming
Mhm.
home, and then watching either fights or movies with my dog on the couch and the computer open.
Lovely. Very nice evening plan, I would say. Finally, before we let you go, one thing, that you, if given an opportunity to turn the clock back, go back in time and change one thing about your professional journey, if there is, what would that be?
Ooh. So actually I did a burning ceremony for these types of things where it was just, we didn't physically burn anything yet, but it was kind of like, this is the stuff I want to burn. And things I couldn't let go is, I got messed over by business partners trying to expand outside of my element into like another vertical, kind of like of marketing. And I realized that just that alone makes me realize like staying in my lane, it's not really holding me back from SEO. Like I was like, oh man, what happens if SEO does like get phased out or I get phased out as an SEO specialist? It's evolving as long as you're willing to evolve. So that was, I don't really want to change anything in my journey, though I would love to have that money that I got messed up out of. I'd love to have that back in like bulk right now. It would be great to invest in like my business more, but not much I want to change. I would probably avoid some of the courses I took where they're like listening to gurus and you think people have things figured out and they have what they did figure out. If you want to do exactly what they did, yeah, work on them and go work for them first and then go. You'll see the real operations behind it. But I paid a lot for like courses that were like, learn how to run a Facebook marketing agency. And I was like, well, I want to run my agency. But they sold me on a marketing course and then it niched down to whatever they wanted. I was like, well, this isn't me. So I left them. But those are the things I would avoid. I don't think I would have to think anything else. Should you change it? Would you be where you are if you did?
No, I get it. Perfect, Mike. Thank you so much for doing this with us. This is
Oh,
really an insightful conversation. I'm sure our audience would love your journey and, your experiments with AI. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it, man. Cheers.
yeah. Thank you so much.